I have been getting, and now we changed our internal organization, now we should talk to this person. And I talk to this person, I send a couple of emails, I don't get back, so I just get too tired.
The news archive, I don't know if you've explored the Vanderbilt University. It's sort of a quasi-public news archive.
I don't know about it.
It's television.
Yeah, but it's video.
Yeah,
So it's not.
It's video, but if you think about the amount of users, it would be a lot more users than the newspaper image. In other words, 10 million people could be looking at CBS News, and you only have 2 million people looking at the Wall Street Journal.
But how are you I'm saying
good point. We are at this point kind of far from mining video content in terms of technical abilities to figure out what is in the.
Well, they have transcripts.
That's actually interesting. So yes.
Yeah, what's that thing that we used to have on the 6th floor? You know, Middle East and Far East and that.
Still Phoebus.
Phoebus, yeah. Yeah, the Foreign Broadcast Information Service that does radio transcripts.
Oh, FIBS, I have it. FIBS, I have it.
And they let you?
They make it public. Actually, FIBS have been making things public for since beginning of 90s.
I think that would be valuable.
It is, but it's not comprehensive. So.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to go back to my excellent question. Because not only because it's excellent, but some of these places, when they ask you to rate the product or rate the seller or something like that, they give you like a Likert scale, and it'll say the word excellent, and it'll say the word poor. But on the ones that use natural language, give us feedback, so. And you said you have a different pooling of the excellent word versus the superior word. Now, what I'm asking you is, do you assign different weights to the different words that are?
No, I'm just examining what is the effect that they have in the power of merchants to charge different prices. This is how I measure. I don't put any language semantics on these words.
Just a dummy variable, whether they say it or
Yes,
they don't say it.
kind of, yes.
Categorical variable.
Now in eBay, they make you do both.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because we talked to eBay about this technology, and a few months later they started breaking their feedback across different dimensions.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
They stole that.
Yeah, I stole it. I mean, it's sometimes I don't believe in stealing in these things. I think that it is in the air, and someone is the first one to come out and say it. But I don't think that. I mean, people have been talking about reputation before that, and they were saying that it's valuable. We felt that it was in the air, that, we can analyze the text. And I suspect maybe we talk to them, someone might got the idea or maybe not. So I don't, but I don't want to accuse easily people. It's very easy for people to come up with independent discovery within a few months from each other. So it just.
When you talk about,
just,
I'm sorry.
Just a second, there is a question, yes?
Mine are specific to the online retail. I was just wondering if you have any comments about, so when you have an issue, I got a couple issues. One is where you have people who review the seller when they're supposed to be reviewing the product or vice versa. We sort of brought that up. So when you're grabbing all this stuff, if someone's saying, if you, marking those differences, because sometimes you're reading a product review and you're like, oh, well, they're talking about the seller, they don't, if there's anything that comes out of it that's either useful or not useful. So if someone's putting in natural language that what they're actually reviewing isn't what you're looking at.
We have done some work on estimating the helpfulness of reviews.
Okay.
And we have seen the following thing. So in order for your review to be helpful, you need to repeat a few things about the characteristics of the product, things that are also in the description of the product, but you also want to say them again, plus to give some your own subjective personal experience. There are some people that go online and they repeat pretty much the description of the product. This is a digital camera that has 10 megapixels and it has this. So these reviews are not very helpful. There are the other people that go and describe only personal scenarios, only personalized, highly personalized opinions. Again, they are not helpful. Somewhere in the middle, where people mix both the objective parts about the product and their own subjective opinions, these are typically the most helpful. Plus, they need to cover as many features of the product as possible. So how the coverage of the review is actually important. So do they talk about the, let's say, the lens of the camera and about the processing mechanism and about how it feels. So if they capture all and they discuss the different aspects of the product, then they are considered more helpful.
I'll just do one more. The other has to do, I guess, with either fixed feedback or forced feedback. So even looking at whether they're shills or someone who's paid to either buy a product, or whether it's an example of it being playful is like the memes of like on the Amazon wolf t-shirt spoof, which I don't know how many people know about that, but like you would go to a product and you go through all the reviews and you knew that, well, someone was specifically attacking a product or whatever. But whether, again, I know you're only really interested in the relation of the symbol to the effect it has on it being sold, but whether any of that stuff sort of comes out.
Well, they were selling slaves at one point too.
Well, look what I
Well,
have.
there is a store in Brooklyn that sells stuff like that. They're like paint cans that they've relabeled to say things like plasma, skin, dead skin from an elderly woman. So
This is some of the research that we have been doing on irony and sarcasm. So you have this, I don't know who put this fake product, they are selling uranium. And they have this, I purchased this product 4.5 billion years ago, and I opened it, but it was half empty. So, and they have all this, what other products? So, buy your own tank or something. So yes, but to tell you the truth, we haven't done any deep research on these things. So.
For a site like Amazon or eBay where you have users,
Uh-huh.
have you ever tracked what different users say and like made a weight for the?
We tried. It was an idea, but we haven't seen. In fact, we thought that repeat users will have power users, that their opinion would matter. We haven't seen.
power buyers, they have.
Yes,
I'm one.
there are not that many. There are not that many
Taxidermy, yeah, get a bottle of wine on eBay and believe me.
to figure out essentially whether they have more influence than others. We have seen that for reviewers.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. On the like even
The reviewers, it
something
makes-
that's like a review site.
For reviewers, if you have these diacritics that Amazon has, top 500 reviewer or real name, these things matter. So the more things that you reveal about yourself, well, it's not causal, but typically people that reveal more things about themselves, they have higher ratings of usefulness by other people. So they put the real name, they put their location, their birthday. So the more things that they put about themselves, typically the reviews are more useful than others.
I thought it was based on how often you bought.
No, it's based on how often you reviewed products and the helpful votes that you get. How many people vote that the review is helpful. So here you see that you have this Thomas that has actually his name here matches the name that he has in his credit card. So he's marked as real. And people typically trust these reviews more than reviews that are coming from anonymous users and so on. Just a
Yeah. Do you take into account, say a product, a camera has been bought, and there are 100 users. Out of only 100, there are only 20 who has written reviews about it. So how useful is it versus like the other 80?
Say it again, I didn't follow that.
Meaning 80 people didn't write any reviews,
Uh-huh.
and you only have 20 people who wrote reviews about that product. How useful is that 20 against that 80?
So you have 20 users that wrote a review, and what are the other ones?
No, say 100 people bought the same product, and only 20 wrote the reviews about that product.
Typically, this is pretty standard for across the board. So typically, I think 10% of the people write reviews or even less. So, and we don't have actual sales data to see who bought and who wrote review. Amazon is pretty secretive about that. They don't want to reveal it. it also has to do with privacy reasons, so I kind of understand that. Had a question?
Well, I was just going to say that there's, according to what site you're trying to mine, some sites have a value added. Because Mary Jean was talking about eBay, buy now or bid. And I had the same question when I was trying to buy a Roomba. And then I went to Amazon and they had, and it was a higher price. And then someone said to me, yes, but Amazon ensures that the thing will be smooth. Whereas eBay is more of a question, I guess, on what's that common site?
Opinions?
Find apartments and stuff like that.
Oh,
Craigslist.
Craigslist.
Craigslist, I guess, would even be less supported by Craig than too.
That's why we have been monitoring things. I mean, definitely this is also part of the reputation, right? But we have been monitoring things on Amazon, who also ensures all the sales that happen. So if you have a problem with a seller, you get a refund. But so we're trying to minimize all other distortions that can happen. But definitely it matters. I mean, we have seen it that matters even when the sales are insured, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that it matters even more when you have even extra dimensions that vary the reputation. So.
Sometimes I think people are just suspicious too. You know, like if it's if
That's the
something's really
reputation.
low price. And
That's the reputation, right? So that's
Yeah.
the.
yeah.
Have you studied it over time at all, in terms
Oh,
of
it was
like,
over 15
as
months.
reputation increases, does their price increase?
We haven't seen actually people responding to changes in their feedback.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Thank-
you.
Terrific.
It was great.
We haven't, so, which brings up another theory that each seller kind of knows what they can offer and they adjust their prices accordingly. So we haven't seen anything systematic that people get bad feedback and they try to improve it. It happens that they get bad feedback and they drop out of the marketplace and maybe they create a new identity, but we haven't seen the response of someone with okay feedback that they're going to trying to improve, because it's more costly, right, to offer better service. So if you're trying to ship everything next day, it means that you might have more people working in your facility, process orders faster and so on. This increases your cost.
Yeah, logically, I was thinking more that when they start out and they have no reputation, they couldn't sell it for more than the mean price. But as the reputation grows, they're allowed to sell it for more, and if they adjusted the price accordingly. Because if I'm a new company, I'm
I
doing
don't
the
know.
absolute best service, I can't sell it at that top price because I have no reputation of that service. Nothing backs it up.
We have seen that history affects their ability to charge higher prices now, but to answer your question, I haven't studied it, so. Okay.
So your real question is, why can't I get data cheap or free as an academic?
No, I mean, I'm getting I could get the data,
Why don't they, but they're not.
but they block me.
Yeah.
But I was getting the data. They were not paying anything
Right.
for royalties, but I have been blocked, even though I was getting, I mean, there was no problem that I was making the library database irresponsive or I was causing technical problems. It was really a decision of, we cut it off just because you are going to do it automatic. And they didn't say it explicitly, but you are going to create something that competes with something that we're offering. Despite the fact, I mean, this interface is giving data for computers to analyze. I mean, you cannot convince me otherwise that this is for humans.
But to convince them that there's a return if they allow you to use this data, there's a return to them.
Why do they give it to students?
A couple of years ago, we worked with one of your professors. She had data from auctions on French air flights.
Okay.
And she was looking at the timing and the bidding and the progression. And she was getting all the data she wanted because I guess eBay or whoever it was thought there was some value coming back to them, or maybe in fact they were paying her to do the
Such
job.
type of data is actually you collect, I mean, yes, you go to the companies and you convince them to give you data because they, but here the problem is that it is deeper. This is not their data, right? But we have essentially a monopoly, oligopoly of a few providers that archive these things. It's almost like having, let's say, Google Books scanning everything, and if you want to get access to any book, you have to go to Google. And you have to convince them that in order to get the books, it's going to give them some return, right? I mean, for me, out of ideology, it's just not the right thing. It is one thing that they give them data generated by their own company, for example, flight bidding and so on. It's a different thing that they sit and they are the gatekeepers of providing access to news that are being generated by a large number of other companies, like newspapers. Maybe newspapers actually would like us to mine their data. This is what New York Times is doing. And essentially so that we can provide some value for the old archival news that right now they have no value for them. But it's just they control and they decide for everyone else. So. Okay.
I mean, I'm convinced. I spend my time shaking my head about all kinds of.
And I'm saying that more and more people will come and ask for that in the future. So I'm the troublemaker, but it will come back. Other people will ask for that.
Well,
So.
I probably shouldn't say it on camera, but I hope people will make more trouble. Maybe
Okay.
eventually we'll kind of get
Okay.
the use out of these databases that we